In the diesel lubrication field, pumps and coolers are represented by three equal groups: the engineers who design the parts, and the accountants who force the engineers to design it cheaply. Then the mechanics who have to fix the engineered cheapskate stuff forced on them by the accountants. This is their story. Caution, dollar store discretion is advised. Putting my cam follower boxes together, and I'm using Clyde Acor's secret sauce. So he gave me this bottle of Lucas Assembly Lube.
Says it's got zinc, moly, and other high-pressure additives for maximum protection during break-in. It is gooey. Gooey. So, I have had really pretty good luck putting these pins in and getting the roll pins to go in. So, what I do, these have all been cleaned up, but I make sure that there's no rough spots anywhere. After you drive those roll pins out, it tends to leave a burr right there on that one, and you have to sand those out. Either way, even if you don't get it sanded out, you got to make sure that you put your pin in this way. The oil hole is right here. Oil comes up through there. And so I always put them in that way, because over here where the roll pin was, and this one does feel a little rough, you don't want to go the other way or it'll scrape the shaft all the way in, leave a nasty mark on it. Yeah, that one, I can't believe I didn't clean that up better, but anyway. So what I do is just take a real thin marker and mark here.
Right where the hole is. Like that. So I got a little mark there. And then I take a shaft. There's your oil hole right there. And I come up here on top and make a mark. So far, they've just gone right together. I was a little nervous about it. So I texted Brian. He says, I just eyeball them and then use a tapered punch to get the pin to roll, so that'll line all up. So that's my mark right there. So then all I have to do, is turn it and get it, eyeball that, the one up top here and the one at the bottom, and get them lined up. And because I only have one eye, I don't have to close one to see straight like you guys. To shoot a gun, you always have to close one eye. I don't have to do that. Just do that. Okay, we're in, and then we'll just bring it over to the vase, put it in here, and they go in quite easy. Get it started going. Get it up there about flush, and then get a roller, put the secret sauce on. I got that from Dave's Auto Center. The reason his truck blew up is he wasn't using our secret sauce. You know, he did a video about, should you let your diesel truck idle? He got a lot of guff about it. Anyway, I put that in there and then just slowly go in. And if it catches, yep, that one caught. There we go. There. Move it around till the pin will start to go through, then just crank it in till you get clear up against the shoulder. And there's my black marks lined up. So it's kind of nice. They've engineered these so you just push these flush, and even though they're not flush on this side, your hole lines up. So to make sure I'm lined up, I just take this little pick and run it in there, and there's our hole. We're good. It doesn't catch anywhere, so roll pin's going to go right in that. It's just going to work. It just is. So I crank it back down snug. And you get one of these little teeny roll pins. On the exhaust and intake rocker ones, it takes a pair of needle nose pliers to hold these because it's so close up there. You get her started, then take a punch. See, wham bam, just goes down, piece of cake. Then I take a smaller punch, and you just want to drive it down a little bit. There you go. We're in, Jen. We're in. Anyway, it rotates, everything works. We're good to go. Ready to do another one. All right, so I was going to show you to get these plugs out of your rocker boxes. You just drill a hole in there, and then you just take a punch, and it'll push the other plug out, and then you can go back and push the one you drilled a hole in. You're going to ruin a plug no matter what, but I'm going to put new plugs in it anyway. So before I do all this, I need to number these. Oh, I was going to show you this. You probably saw this in my short. So this is an Interstate McBee pin, and this is the old genuine Cummins. So this small hole right here is an oil hole, and the oil goes down through here and through the shafts, and the shafts have holes in them right here, if you can see those, and that pushes oil up through the rocker arm, and then there's passages drilled in there. There's one that comes up through and through the pin and lubes the roller, and then one that lubes the push rod tube end. So the hole that goes all the way through is the one that has the roll pin in it, and that's going to hold the pin in. So when you put them in, that's how that should look. Do you see something wrong? Yeah, the hole, the retaining pin hole's clear. Oops, I got that upside down. I'm sorry. So it sits like this. The top holes are the oil holes, and that one is for your retaining roll pin. But do you see where the hole for the retaining pin is? It's clear over there. So something wrong with that one. I already sent him an email. Said I found one that was wrong. We'll see how many other ones are wrong. I'm glad I didn't knock it all the way in. All I did was just kind of start it and then double checked it. And I always look at the roll pin hole to see if it's oriented right, and it wasn't. So it was like, nope, can't do that. And then these little screws right here go in, and they go into the groove on the shaft. I'll show you that. Let's take this out. Doesn't go in the groove, goes in that hole. So when you push it in, you gotta make sure that hole's lined up. And these screws will go in there and hold it. Now these were loose as a goose, but the gasket comes over this and they can't come out. So they don't have to be torqued down super tight. So let's see, we still got Clyde's secret sauce stuck all over. That stuff sticks to everything. On your hands, you got to use something to get it off. You can't wipe it off. It's so sticky. So rather than pound these out, I'm thinking about pushing them out, but I'll need a socket to go around this and then something long enough to push on that. Bingo. So when you take this out, that pin comes out, and there's the roll pin fell out. So see, that roll pin fits in there loose, so when you push it in there and push the pin out, it's just going to fall right out. So there's the wear mark right there. They're not bad, but again, everything lubed by engine oil on this engine was wore out. So I am going to replace it all. And we're going to want to go this way. Yeah, I don't know about that, Jeff. I don't know if I'm going to get big enough where that comes undone. Yeah, I don't know. Woo, can I do it? Will it do it? Oh, we're getting to the end. I can feel it. Oops, wrong way. Yes, that's the right way. I wonder if I don't need that. I need this smaller socket. I just need a shorter socket a little bit. I don't know if this... Yeah, that just came undone. That is not gonna work. So, gotta find a shorter one. I may be doing this the hard way on these injector ones. You can do her. There we go. And there's the roll pin. So it did a bunch of damage to it there. I don't know why. But that sucker was tight in there. Don't recall ever seeing any that tight. That's got a pretty good burr on it right there. Alright, so that one done. Okay, this is my last valve pin that I have because that other one had a problem. So I just wanted to show you how I do this. So all I do is mark the hole right here, and you can see the hole right there, and I just take a Sharpie marker and eyeball that, and then do the same thing to the end of the pin there, and always line it up with your oil hole, because if you tried to use the pinhole and sight across here to line it up, you might end up with the problem I had. Had I lined up that bad pin with the pinhole, not the oil hole, it would have went in, I would have put the pin in, and there would have been no oil to this roller. That's not good. If you can see that, there's the black mark on the pin and the one on the arm. So you just bring it over to the vise, and if you don't have a vise, don't use a hammer. Do not use a hammer. Get a vise, something, arbor press. I don't recommend a press, hydraulic press. You might be able to break something. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to push it in till this pin is flush right here. And then I'm going to get a roller, put the special sauce on. This stuff's stickier than mother-in-law oil. And then just put it in here. You got to have it about like that and go in slow and just wiggle this till she starts on the shaft. Then you can go ahead and go in. It gets kind of stiff once you get into that second hole. When it goes in and stops, you're done. So the other thing you want to do is you want to take an awl, stick it in the hole. Make sure that the pinhole's lined up. And it is. It went right in, no problems. You get them, hit it straight. Get it in there straight and whack it. God. If you do it right. God dang it. Come on, Jeff. There you go. You're in. And then I just take a bigger punch and drive it in. Now, if your hole's not perfectly lined up, well, let me finish this. So then I take a smaller one. And you got to be careful because you don't want to pound it in too far. This hole's tapered, so you just want as much of the pin in the actual bore as possible. So if your hole ain't lined up exactly, you can't make it move, it's enough, you think the pin will go in, clamp it here so that when you put it in, it may turn that shaft in there. It's pretty snug in there. I think it would be pretty hard to turn, but you can see my marks. I did pretty well. I've eyeballed every one of them and it's just worked. You just have to check everything. Just take your time, be careful. Check everything, make sure it's good. Put your pins in your rollers. Make sure they're tight. Got no burrs on them. And you can do it. You can do it. All right, good morning. I think it's Friday. So I called the vendor I got these from, sent him some pictures. I got these from Vanderhags in Iowa. And I called Alex the other day, yesterday I guess it was, and he said he'd have to get with Interstate McBee, see what they want to do, and I said, well, I need this pretty quick, so we'll see whether I get a call back or an email today. I can't complain about the quality of anything in the box. I mean, I hope the rollers are good quality and they last. They don't eat up my cam or destroy themselves. But even with Cummins, you know, you could buy something brand new and it may be made in China or India. I know the liners say right on them they're made in India. And I got a bore gauge, I'll show you that. I went down inside of them. Brian suggested that So that was Daniel that called me. He's down in California. He's building one of these. I believe he's putting it in an old narrow-nosed Pete. So, like I always say, we get more done when we work together. So, it's like I told him, I said, I'm learning a lot about Cummins. I don't know everything, but I'm learning because I want to put this together and have it last. So, thank goodness for Brian Block. If I didn't have him, I don't know what I'd be doing. I'd probably make a mistake. So I couldn't get this plug out of the back of the block. And it's an O-ring style plug, and that seals water. And I really didn't want that to leak. I wanted to replace the O-ring. And I impacted on it. Couldn't get it out. So I just said forget it because I saw a video where somebody else couldn't get it out. They ended up welding nuts and stuff and washers on it, and they finally got it out after they got it super hot. Brian said just heat this with a torch and it'd probably come out. But what I did is I banged on it. Then I tried to tighten it. Then I took a hammer and just kept whopping it. Tried it again, it came right out. But before I did all that, I was concerned about the threads. So with the head off, you can get down in there and you can see the threads. So I sprayed a whole bunch of liquid wrench in there and let it sit. And where it's an O-ring plug, I figured those aren't pipe threads, so it would draw up into the threads. And it did a little bit. Anyway, came right out. So don't give up if you can't get that out. You really need an impact. And then what I used is some impact Allen head sockets. I think it's that one right there. It's a 3/4. Anyway, that's what you gotta have. I think this is just stuff I bought at Hobo Freight. I bought a Fowler. I think I bought that off Amazon. It's a 2-inch to 6-inch cylinder bore gauge. And it's got all these little pieces to be able to do that. And it's got a little bag of washers. You have to use those under here where it goes in, and it's got a chart to tell you all that. So basically, you put it in the liner and put it down there. And I had it zeroed, so right there, it's a thousandths from being zero. Bring it up here. It's a thousandths from a zero, so it might be off a little bit. I may not have tightened that face clamp enough. So this is how you check it. You just put it in there and rock it back and forth until it comes to the zero. So let me see if I can readjust that to zero. So there's, come up to zero and then go the other way. So you know that's when it's centered. So that liner's good. Brian said to check them once I get in. So I'm not going back to zero again. So does that mean that liner is different? It could be. So let's go 90 degrees. Let's go the other way, see what we got. And that zero's right there. And that zero's. So does that mean that this way we're out of round by a thousandths? Yeah, I'd say so. Pretty good up top. Huh. So this one goes a thousandths the other way. See that? Not quite a thousandths. Go down to the bottom. I'm really interested to see what they measure. Oh, now look at that down there. Holy moly. That's an easy thousandths. So I'm really interested in seeing what they're going to measure when I get them in, especially down at the bottom. So down at the bottom, they're just about a thousandths over. But are they tapered? Huh. See, now that one, that's a thousandths under. You know, that's probably about as good as you're gonna get, isn't it? Anymore. There's a little bit of outer roundness, not enough to cry about. It would be cool if they were right on the money, but they're not. So, some of you are probably wondering how I clean all this crap up. Let me show you. It's a new technique. It was invented by the Phoenicians. It's getting cold out here. Sun's starting to go down. So let's go look at what I've accomplished today. Now, some of this shit is really time consuming. Oh man. Oh, it's warm in here. Like those rocker boxes. Those were a bastard to clean up. So there's the intake manifold. I've got it cleaned up. And I ordered a new elbow because it's cracked. And I'm a little concerned about this one. Not right there, but right there I polished. And you can't really see it now, but I'm a little concerned it might be cracked there. That could be welded. For the life of me, I don't know why it's cracked. But this elbow over here, she broke to crap all over. You can see that one there, travels over to that edge. That's broke. Broke. This end, I found a place on here where it was welded. See that, where that's all mushed down? And I don't know, there's some, yeah, right. So you can see that crack right there. Comes clear around to the face of it. It's broke all the way through. And then, God, where was that? Somewhere around here. If I had my seam glass, oh, right there. There's a pit. It's been welded right through here. So I don't know what happened. The front end came loose and was pulling on this. Somebody got up on the engine and stepped on that. Or she was in a front ender. Oh, I bought a new one of these off eBay. Pretty cheap, genuine Cummins, because I tried to clean this up in here and it's horrible. It's just super pitted. And I thought, well, I'd take it to the machine shop and have them sleeve it, but there's no meat here. You'd have no strength. Glue it with some epoxy and sand it, maybe. What the heck, for $130, I think I got a surplus Cummins one, so. Oh, and this is I bought a genuine Cummins from Source One in California. Because all the used ones I could find on eBay. They wanted a fortune for them. They looked horrible. And I was like $125, and for 50 more bucks I could get a brand new genuine Cummins. And you can buy aftermarket ones all over, but they were even more money than genuine Cummins. So when you buy parts from Source One Parts, they sell nothing. Well, I take that back. I don't know what else they sell, but they got genuine Cummins stuff, and it is significantly less money than going through Shop Cummins. So that's what I did. So one of my subscribers wanted me to talk like KT Fleeman. He likes the way KT talks. Maybe it's his cadence. I don't know. So I don't know whether to do that or not. I don't want to offend KT. I really don't. He's a good kid. Good kid. They're good kids. Good kids. All right. So we'll go clean up this hook. Got the other one over there. Wire wheel the bolts and whatnot. And then I think after I get that stuff cleaned up, it's time to tear into that compressor and see what I got. I probably got a pile of shit. I'm sure that every bearing in it will be wore out.